Hey, everybody. How are you this afternoon or morning, depending on where you are? I hope you are having a good day so far. And I hope that if you're not, then I can lift you up a little bit. I've got a fun project for you guys using wire because you guys know if you've been with me for a while or if you've seen any of my previous classes, you know that wire is my love language. I absolutely love working with wire and creating jewelry with it. And I also love teaching how to take simple wire components and turn them into really cool, trendy pieces of jewelry. So that's exactly what we're going to do today. We are doing a hoop earring using some 18 gauge wire, and I am going to wire wrap some seed beads to this. And I'm using Halloween colors for this. I'm using black and orange. However, you can change this up and you can do these in any color that you want to so that they are not just seasonal. Right, you can create these for any time of the year in any colors that you want. But I was feeling a little festive, so we're doing orange and black. But feel free to change that up however you want. And I guess that's it. I'm going to get right into it. These are going to go by pretty quickly. This is a pretty quick project, so I hope you guys are ready. Let me turn the screen around here, and we're going to get right into it. We don't need a whole lot of materials for this, which is one of my favorite ways to make jewelry. I like it when it doesn't take a lot, right? So let me show you our little sample. We are going to create a wire hoop out of 18 gauge wire. And then we are going to add some seed beads to this using some 24 gauge wire. And you can see the only other hardware that we need is just an ear wire, whichever one you want to use, and a head pin and a drop. And I'm using a faceted black teardrop bead, but you could use anything. You could use a charm here. You could fill the entire thing up with beads. So you have a whole lot of options, but I am going to show you how to get started and hopefully inspire you to create some of your very own hoop earrings. So we are going to start with a 4-inch piece of 18 gauge wire. And I am using German style wire because that is my very favorite wire for creating components. It is a medium temper wire, so it's not dead soft. That medium temper means that it is a little bit harder than your dead soft wires, and it doesn't take nearly as much work hardening. That's why it's perfect for making components, because you can work harden it just a little bit, but then you're good to go. All right, so for creating my loops on the end, I'm going to be using my stepped bell making pliers, but you can use your round nose pliers for this too if you want to. Totally up to you. You don't have to feel like you need to go buy a brand new tool if you want to make these and you don't have these. It's totally fine. So I'm going to be using the smallest mandrel on my stepped bell making pliers. So if you are going to be using your round nose pliers, you probably want to stay from the middle towards the front, right, to make your loop nice and small. All right, so I'm going to take my wire, I'm putting it between the pliers here, and I'm just going to create one little loop on one end. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other end, the exact same size mandrel. All right, so this is what we've got. Okay, we have loops on both ends. Now I'm actually going to lift you guys up just a little bit because I feel like I need a little bit more room. Okay, I'm going to use something that I just have on my desk. You can use anything that you want. There are tools that are specific, that you can use as mandrels. You can use a wooden dowel. Big, chunky, permanent markers are great to use. I'm actually using the lid to an air freshener. And even that is festive. It's a pumpkin pecan flavored. So, I'm being festive all the way around. But the point is that, again, you don't have to have a specific tool for this. You can use anything that you've got laying around. Again, those big chunky permanent markers, if you've got those are really good for creating hoops with. But anything you've got will work. So I'm just going to take my wire and I'm going to place that up against the mandrel that I'm using here, and I'm going to hold that down with my thumb, and then I'm just going to guide that wire around to create that round shape. And you'll see my wire is longer than the mandrel. That's okay. I'm just going to continue to push that wire down all the way around. So I'm kind of over bending here, which is totally fine because this wire is actually going to kind of spring back a little bit when I let go. All right, then you can see when you take that off of there, you have this kind of funny little shape. It's round, but your loops are kind of in a weird spot. So we're going to fix that. We're going to take our pliers, chain nose pliers, or your bent chain nose pliers, either one. And you're going to pick one of these loops and you are going to turn it. Let's see, I'm going to flip mine this direction. No, I'm not. It's always, it really, honestly, you guys, it doesn't even matter, but I'm going to take one of my loops and I'm going to grab it with my pliers and I'm going to bend it this direction, just like that. So you can see I've got one loop going this way and one loop now. This loop is going to actually attach to this one. I'm also going to take my pliers and just gently, I'm going to kind of flip this one around. Now, depending on how you had this on your mandrel, how you shaped this around, you may not have to manipulate these loops nearly as much as I am. They may have been in a really good spot for you already, but mine needed a little extra work with my pliers. Now, I'm going to open up this loop and I'm going to hook it to the other one. So if you can see or not, but I'm just going to twist to open and then I'm going to slide that other end of the wire in there. And then I am going to twist this closed. So you can see I've got a little hoop shape. Now it's not perfect. That's okay, because that's what my pliers are for. I can really kind of bend this and manipulate this into the shape that I want. I can also put it back on the mandrel if I want to, and I can cut another piece of wire. This one's kind of funny shaped, so I can always do another one, and it doesn't hurt for you to try more than once, right? Because you're only using 4 inches of this wire. So if you don't like the way that it looks the first time, do another one. We're going to do another one. We're going to pick the best of the two, because they don't always turn out exactly like you want them to. Okay, so I'm just turning the little loops on the ends. It's so good to see you guys. Hi, Kim. I saw Bonnie was here. Fran is here. So many familiar faces. I appreciate all of you so much. And welcome to all our new faces as well. All right, so I'm going to do this again. Okay, I'm just going to guide this around. And this time you can see my loops are kind of facing in a different way. So it's a little bit easier this time to go ahead and flatten this out. Not really flattening per se, but laying the wire up against the mandrel. All right. Okay. So again, this one might be a little bit easier. So I'm going to take this loop and I'm going to bend it straight up and down. And then again, I'm going to take this one right here and I'm going to open it and hook it. So try a couple of these to get the shape that you want. You can also do this exact same thing and get a teardrop shape as well. So if you want to change this up and make it a little bit different, you can do that too. The hardest part of this really, you guys, is just getting it hooked on. So you want to just slide it in there and then closing it back, because it does kind of want to spring open on you, but there we go. Okay. And it's not a perfect hoop, but it's pretty darn close. And again, you can pick between the two. This one's a little funny shape, so I'm going to go with this one, the second one that I made, but sometimes it takes 2 tries. Totally fine. All right, so once you've got the shape that you like, then you are going to put this onto your steel block to work harden it just a little bit. That's going to give you a little extra insurance so that you can keep that shape as you are working with this. So you're going to be heating this up with your fingers, and you're going to be wire wrapping and putting tension and pressure on this. So work hardening it a little bit is going to help to make sure that you don't lose that shape, or if you do, it's not by very much. So I'm going to put this onto the block, and you'll see I've got my loop off to the edge here so that my ring or my hoop will lay nice and flat on the block. And then I'm going to use my nylon hammer. And I'm just going to tap this a little bit to work harden. And I'm going to do both sides. And then I'm just going to kind of feel it a little bit. You can definitely tell when you've work hardened something. You can definitely feel the difference in it. Fran says, would a mallet, a rawhide mallet work? Yes, absolutely. So when it comes to work hardening, if you do not want to change the structure of the wire, meaning you don't want to flatten it, a nylon hammer, a rubber hammer, or a rubber mallet, a rawhide mallet, all of those things are going to work. If you want to use like a chasing hammer, you have to be careful. You can do that to work harden it as well, but if you hit it too hard, it is going to flatten that surface of the round wire. So just be mindful of that. But yes, there's a lot of different things that you can use to work harden. Okay, so now that I have my hoop shape, at this point, you can literally do anything with this, right? This was a pretty easy component to create. We're going to wire wrap seed beads to ours and put a little dangle on it, but you can literally do anything here. If you wanted to wire wrap beads to the outside, if you wanted to wire wrap beads along the inside curve, if you wanted to, wire wrap and hang things in the center of this. So this component is going to be useful in so many different designs. So it's an easy component to create and then has tons of options. All right, for us though, we are going to wire wrap some seed beads to this, and I have pre-cut 6 pieces of our 24 gauge wire. I'm using artistic wire for this, though if you wanted to use the German style wire, you absolutely can. There's a really, I don't really prefer one over the other in a situation like this because we're just doing a little bit of wire wrapping. So it's up to you. I kind of like the artistic wire for this personally, but I'm just dumping out my seed beads here, and I'm using size 11 seed beads, but you can do this in any size that you want, and again in any color that you want. So I'm going to take one of my 24 gauge pieces of wire. Now this is a lot more wire than I actually need for some of these top sections, but that's okay. I always save my scraps. So all right, I am one of those people who I like to wire wrap on the right and then come across to the left, but you can work either direction. It makes no difference. What you're going to do is you are going to take your wire and you are going to anchor that to your component. So I've got a little bit of a tail here, and I'm going to anchor that to the component with about 3 wire wraps. You can use your pliers to help you if you want to, and you can do it way out here and then slide it over. Totally up to you. But I am going to wire wrap this on with about 3 wire wraps, 4 wire wraps, whatever you want to use. I wouldn't do a lot more than that. That's probably plenty. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to come across to the other side, but before I do that, I'm going to add some seed beads to this. So I'm going to pick up 2 orange seed beads. Whoops, sorry guys. There's a light in the way, so I can't really see the comment section. There we go. All right, I've laid I thread my beads on, and then I'm going to take my wire across to the other side, and I'm going to wire wrap over here on the other side. So those 2 little beads are going to sit right underneath where those 2 wire ends are coming together. And I'm going to wire wrap with about 3 wraps. And honestly, if you want to use the leftover of this wire, the scrap of this to do the next row, you can do that. I wire wrap that on, and then I'm going to come in with my cutter and I'm going to trim off the ends. For me personally, I don't like to use one piece of wire to do all of the wire wrapping. You actually can do it that way if you want to. You can use just one really long piece of wire, add your beads, wrap across, and then add beads and go back across the other direction. I personally don't like to do that because what ends up happening is my wire wraps end up being some on one side and some on the other side, which gives this some extra dimension that I do not want. I want all of mine to be towards the front of this. So let me show you what I mean. So when you're looking at the finished one here, you can see all of the seed beads are kind of to the front of the component. When I turn it over, you can see there clearly is some space, right? This makes this the back because they're kind of recessed because they're coming outwards on the front. if you go back and forth, you're going to have a mix between this being the front and this being the front. So some of your rows will be forward, some of your rows will be back just a little bit. And for me, I just don't think it looks very clean. But play around with it, because you may find that you can work it out if you set your wraps exactly the correct way, that they can all be on the same side. But for me, it's easier just to cut some individual pieces. Okay, so now I'm ready to do the next row. So I'm going to do the exact same thing again. I'm going to take another piece of wire. I'm going to wire wrap it with about 3 wraps. Use my pliers to tidy those wraps up. And then I'm going to add about 6 seed beads. Now, depending on the size of the beads that you're using, if you've decided that you want to do like something different, a different size seed bead or a different shape bead, if you don't want to do a seed bead and you're doing maybe like little faceted rounds or bicones, it may take you a different amount of beads to go across. So just keep all of that in mind. This is just how many beads it's going to take me with my size loop and my size 11 beads. Okay, so I'm gonna push that right back up there, and then I'm gonna set that row underneath the first row, and then wire wrap. And the little seed beads are gonna try to scoot around on you. Just gonna hold those in place. Wire wrap. Okay, and then I'm going to come in with my cutter and trim off. And I can see this top row here. I may have been able to add 3 seed beads to this top row, but honestly, once this is all done, it really is not, it's not going to be that noticeable, but I may have been able to fit 3 right up there. So if you want to try to get 3 in that top row, you absolutely can do that. But then I'm going to trim. Whoops. Okay, and then I'm going to start another wire. So we're just repeating the same steps, and these are going to be, I can see this piece of wire needs to be tidied up just a little bit. Squeeze that with my pliers. The steps are going to, we're just going to repeat the exact same steps, as many rows of seed beads as you want. And if you will stick with 3 to 4 wraps for each piece of wire, it will keep the spacing between your rows consistent. Okay, so for the next row, I'm going to hold this up here so you can see it. We're going to count the beads on this next row. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 11 more orange. Okay, there's 11. And then I'm just going to guide those across to the other side and then set those in place with the wire wrap. And then come in with my cutter to trim. Okay. All right, now we're going to change things up a little bit. Our next row we're going to do with black beads, but the steps are still exactly the same. So wire wrapping my new piece of wire. And then let's check this one. So it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Whoops, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 beads. And again, doesn't have to be exactly that. You can honestly just fill it up and then lay it across and see if you've got enough or not. You don't have to have an exact number, and they don't have to match between the two, because sometimes there's going to be some size differences in your hoops. That's why I say this one at the top, I probably could have fit 3 seed beads, whereas my sample here, only 2 would fit. So there's a little bit of size discrepancy between the two. So sometimes it may just make more sense to just fill up the wire and use however many it takes and not worry about counting. I'm always trimming my wire on the back though, just so that it looks nice and clean on the front. Just be careful that when you're trimming your wire, you don't accidentally trim your component. So then you're gonna have to start completely over again. And that's not fun. Ask me how I know. Done that more than one time. All right, so now I'm gonna do another row. We're getting close. I'm only gonna do 2 more rows, but if you are feeling like you wanna just fill this entire thing up with seed beads, you absolutely can do that. I'm not even gonna count this time. I'm just gonna fill this up. We'll see what happens. Then I can add beads if I need to or take beads away. I can see these being done in some really cute holiday colors other than for Halloween. You could do these in red and green. For Christmas, you could do these in blue and silver. For Hanukkah, you could do really beautiful spring colors in pastels if you wanted to. You can also change up the sizes of your beads. So I'm using all size 11 beads for this, but if you wanted to, you could mix in some different sizes. So you could do a row of 11s and then do a row of 15s and get really small, or you could do a row of 8s or 6s and get a little bit bigger. And maybe as the further you go down, you've got more space to fill. You could use, size, I don't know, 4mm beads or something like that. So you can get really creative with this. It's going to create a different look. You'll be able to come up with all kinds of cool things. All right, so I have more beads than I needed. That's totally fine. I'm going to let these 2 beads fall off the end. And then I'm going to wire wrap. And I have no idea how many of those beads it took to go across there. It doesn't really matter. And use your pliers to tidy up your rows, or your wire wraps rather. And then again, bringing the wire to the back before you trim it off. All right, and I'm going to do 1 more row, and this time I'm going to finish this off in orange. You could also add like purple to this, or green if you wanted to add some other Halloween colors to this. You can get really, really creative with these. I love the possibilities because it's such a simple design, but it lends itself to so many other things. So, all right, last piece of wire. I'll wire wrap that on. Okay, and orange seed beads. And we're not counting. You can see I'm just using my wire as a needle instead of picking these up by hand because they're so small. It's just much easier to just pick them up with the wire. Right, lay that across, see where we're at. Got too many. It's okay, we'll let the last two fall off the end and set this with some wraps. All right, bring the wire to the back and you're going to trim. And again, if you want to keep going, go for it. You can fill this entire hoop up with beads if you want to. You can actually do this in other places as well. If you wanted to start on the bottom and go upwards and leave the top open, or if you wanted to do this on the side and like do like some really cool designs, you could do arches this direction and arches this direction. So you can get really, really creative with this. I hope that this really inspires you to think about some other possibilities here. Okay, so now one thing I noticed was that my loop here on the top is facing the wrong direction. Didn't even occur to me. So, but this of course is this is only going to matter depending on which direction the loop on your ear wire is facing. Now I know that I usually leave the ear wire for the last step, but what I want you to see is that you see how the loop on this one is facing towards me because the ear wire loop is facing away. This one, I have my loop facing the wrong direction. So when I go to attach my ear wire, it's not going to face the correct direction. That's okay. It's a really easy fix. And all I have to do is just turn the wire with my pliers, and then it's ready for the ear wire. When we get to that step, which will be here in just a second, we'll be ready to add that. But we want to add a dangle to this. So we are going to take one of our little faceted beads here. And again, you could use a charm if you wanted to. You could make little clusters out of seed beads. You could leave it plain. You don't even have to add a dangle to this if you don't want to, but we're going to wire wrap a teardrop, faceted teardrop to this. So I'm going to take my teardrop bead and I'm going to thread that onto a head pin. And then I'm going to start my wrapped loop. So I'm going to come in with my chain nose pliers. I'm holding the wire right where it is exiting the bead, and I'm going to bend that wire over the top of the pliers. That means that when I take the pliers away, there is room there for the wire wraps, and the pliers did all the measuring for me. I don't have to use a ruler or anything like that. I just let the tool do the work for me. Now I'm going to come in with my round nose pliers, or if you want to use your stepped bell making pliers, those work as well. Whatever you need. I'm going to come in and hold that wire still towards the front, but kind of towards, I'm getting a little bit bigger here, just want a little bit bigger than a loop that I would normally create right here at the tip. I'm going to take the wire up and over the top barrel of the pliers, then I'm going to rotate those pliers in my hand so that I can take the wire over to the other side. Before I do the wire wraps though, I'm going to take this off of the tool, and I'm going to take the tail end of that wire, stick it through my component, and then slide this directly onto the component. So I'm not using a jump ring here to connect these. They're going to be connected with the wire wrap. And I'm going to use my bent chain nose pliers to hold onto that loop. And then I'm going to wire wrap in that space between my loop and the top of my bead. You can use a jump ring here if you want to. And if you prefer a simple loop over a wrapped loop, you can do that as well. Do my wire wraps. Whoops. All right, and then I'm going to come in with my cutter and trim off, whoops, the excess. It seemed to hold on to anything today. And then if you need to tuck your end with your pliers, you can do that. All right, and the last step is to add our ear wire, and we are complete Well, these are complete. One of them is complete. You got to repeat this entire process to get the second earring to make it match, or you turn it into a pendant. Totally up to you. Totally up to you. Add the ear wire and they're done. Super cute. I love these. I think they are so cute, and there are so many possibilities here. A lot of different things that you can do with these. Save your wire scraps. You can use those if you wanted to take your wire scraps here and do a knotted head pin. Instead of using a pre-made head pin, you could do that. You can just save them for other projects if you want to. I'm all about keeping my wire scraps. And of course, the component itself, I mentioned in the beginning, because I did more than one. I recommend doing one or two of these just to see, because again, some of them will not look the way you want them to. So don't get frustrated. Do a couple of them. It only takes about 4 inches of wire. Now, that being said, you can also make these larger or smaller if you want to. You can cut a 6-inch piece of wire and get some really big hoops, or you can do maybe 3 inches of wire to get something a little bit smaller. So play around with it to come up with what it is that you want exactly. I'm going to turn you guys around and I'm going to show you what these look like on, or at least hold them up for you so you can see, because it's always really helpful to kind of get an idea size wise what they look like when you have them on. Things always look a little bit different when gravity does what gravity does and you put it next to a face. All right, there you go. So you can see how cute those are. And I could see those in any color. You could do school colors if you wanted to. You could do anything. So many options with these. So there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's project. It was a fun one. Thanks for letting me be a part of your afternoon. I hope that you had a good time, and I hope that you will go make some beautiful hoop earrings with all of your favorite colors, guys. They're simple and fun and lots of versatility when it comes to how to use those components rather in your own jewelry making designs. So, all right, guys, that's it for me. Thank you so much. I hope that I will see you again next time when I have another fun project for you guys. In the meantime, be sure that you are checking out all of the other amazing designers and projects that are available on the Michaels classes online. And you can always watch this on replay in 24 hours over on the Michaels YouTube channel. So check those out. All right.
Really quick before you sign off, there
Yes.
was a quick question. Fran asked this earlier in the class, and I was hoping we would get to it. She was just asking, what is the size across for the cap that you used? So I guess she's asking what size across was the cap or the wraparound. So the fragrance cap you were using?
Yeah.
I think she wants to know.
Yeah. Perfect question. That's a really good question. So let me see. What did I do with that? It's on my desk somewhere. Hold on. Let's see. I can actually just measure the earring and I'll tell you that way. I don't know what happened to that cap. It may have fallen into the floor. So using my little gauge here, I can tell you that 25 millimeters is what the earring size ended up being. So that's on the outside edges. So I would look for, if you want something similar to this size, I would look for something that's about 24 millimeters, because again, you have to take into consideration the outer edge of your wire. So about 24 millimeters in size for your mandrel, whatever it is that you're going to use to do that. You can actually use your hammer. I don't know what your hammer looks like, but mine is kind of tapered up here. So I can get a couple of different sizes here, but a marker, things like that, anything will do. But about 24 millimeters is going to get you really close to the same size as what I've got. So great question. Thank you. I appreciate that.
That was it. So thank you.
All right, everybody. Have a great rest of your afternoon, and I will see you again very soon. Bye, guys.